And now, the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brandon Staton and Tyler Hansbrough.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the SleepHawk Worldwide Podcast. This is Sleep Dog with the Big Hulk.
What's up, everybody? It's the Big Hulk. Scary days ahead of us. We're not talking about Halloween. We're talking about Carolina football. But, hey, I'm excited to be in the lab with my guy, Sleep Dog. Got a great podcast for you. I'm looking forward to it.
Boy, defense, more like the Red Sea fence. I mean, holy shit, guys. Probably about time to start worrying about Campbell. We'll get into the loss against Georgia Tech. We're coming in a day late because we needed a day to, we just needed a day. We need to get our shit together. We need to figure out what's going on here. We're going to try to do that with you guys here in the next few minutes. We'll get into the UNC basketball game. Hey, a little bright side here. Yes, it was an exhibition. Yes, it was against St. Aug, which is right across the street from my house. But yes, it was an absolute blowout. Speaking of right across the street from my house, I might walk over there and try out for those guys. Big win for the Heels. One that we'll take. I should just say big win, big margin there. If we start calling that one a big win, we're in dire straits. So NFL, a lot of topsy-turvy stuff going on there. We'll cover some of that. NBA in-season tournament. We're going to explain how that shit works, and or at least we're going to try to. It might get a little Halloween banter. So, look, let's start with the obvious place, Big Hawk. UNC loses at Georgia Tech. Now lost 2 in a row. We are now into oblivion, out of the top 25. Won't be back in it no matter what happens. As soon as I said hey, which game we worried about? I don't understand how it's always Virginia and it's always Georgia Tech winds up doing this. Georgia Tech, a couple stats here. 635 yards of total offense, okay? Their quarterback, whom I don't think anyone in America had ever heard of, looked like Joe Montana out there. 23 of 30, 287 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's 12 yards every time he threw a completion. Their running back, also not sure many people heard of this guy. 22 carries, 178 yards, 8 yards a carry, dude. You hand this dude the rock, damn near getting a first down. We had 577 yards of offense, scored 42 points, and lost. Gave up 24 in the second quarter, gave up 22 in the fourth quarter, lost 46-42 at Georgia Tech to a team that lost to Bowling Green at home. It's over for the Heels. At least it's ripped the Band-Aid off, right? But how? What happened, dude? I mean, how do we even make sense of this?
Sleep. You said it all right there. Actually, we jumped out to a pretty good lead, and I thought it was going to be cruise control for us, but
I thought we were going to demolish them. I was like, this is great. We're back on track.
But Georgia Tech's just one of those teams where we always just, like you said, Virginia, Georgia Tech, I don't know what it is. It's not the sexiest team, but also they sneak up on a lot of people. And it seems like they always get us. I don't know what it is, Sleep. I wish I knew football better, but I will tell you this, you got to have the killer mentality. Early leads don't last, and that's a Frank Vogel saying that we used to have when I was with Indiana. Teams are too good now to just, you jump out to a big lead, you better sustain it, and you better put the clamps down. But obviously we didn't have that. We didn't have the killer mindset, and it was a hangover effect, in my opinion, from the Virginia game. But we'll see. We got Campbell, which we should just destroy them. And maybe we'll get back on path.
Yeah, I mean, you got Campbell at home. Nooner, you got Duke, who also lost. They got shellacked by Louisville, so they're out of the top 25. So that game's destined to be a noon kick. Then you're going down to Clemson, just lost to State, and then you got State on last game of the year. It's hard, right? As a Carolina football fan, you kind of like, shame on you, shame on me, shame on us for not seeing this coming. It's a hard pill to swallow because you kind of start going back and looking at where we've been in the last 3 or 4 seasons, and we just cannot seem to, get over the hump when it's weird because we win the games we're supposed to win, or maybe not supposed to win, and you lose these. Defensively, is really just a quagmire, man. I don't understand. It's like watching two different teams. You watch this team earlier in the year, first 6 games, really. I mean, until we talked about this last pod, till the sort of very end of the Miami game, where you started to think like, maybe they just took the foot off the gas. You know, they were in control. They were in control of the whole season until 10 minutes to go in that game. And since that point, it's just been a disaster. So, yeah, like you said, we try to get back on track on Campbell. And at this point, I don't know, level set your expectations, guys. We're just looking for something that's not the damn mayonnaise bowl again. I feel like we've been there 7 years in a row. And I think if you come back to it, we have to, is like if you're a Carolina fan, the way you find peace in this, I think, is just think about what's still attainable. And if you had been given that option before the season started, would you take it?
Would I?
So in other words, like, we go, what, I don't even know what the hell, well, we got 4 games left and we're 6-2. So what happens if we go 10-2?
Yeah,
it's a pretty good year, but damn,
that's a great
2 losses
year.
would sting. Yeah.
Yeah. But Sleep, here's my thing, is I know a lot of people are already placing blame on Mac. I think Mac's done actually a really good job. I think he's really turned the program around, and I think he's got great energy. I think the thing is people are just frustrated because they get so excited when we get off to these unexpected starts like we got to this year. And, we got to keep in mind that we have Drake May, one of the best quarterbacks in college football. And we have some pretty good receivers, Tez Walker, and I can't think of the other kid. But, they're still going to be exciting to watch. And there's still a lot of football to be played. A lot of things can happen. So just, let's not jump the ship right now. Let's maintain positivity, move forward. We've got an absolute layup next week. Try to get our confidence up, and then roll on into Duke and see what happens.
Yeah, and that's the hard part here, right? You're criticizing these guys, especially where we sit. Dude, this is one thing that you can relate to me on, Big Hog, is like, I don't think either one of us has a whole lot of experience on the gridiron, right? So, criticism from the sidelines, from the cheap seats, from wherever you want to call it. Like, I get it, man. Like, I don't know what to do different. It's just a bummer as a fan. You bring a really good point, right? I think that's where all this comes from, is that you get a taste of it, right? You get so excited. You start to think to yourself, like, man, this could actually, and then no more can you really even get that sentence out of your mouth than you just get slapped across the face with it, dude. And just realize, like, nope, because I really don't think we're that. And that's the other piece. Like, you back out and look at some of these other schools that have lost games to lesser opponents out of nowhere, right? It stings for us because, like, oh, well, this is who we are. Okay, fair. I mean, even Mac Brown said it, and that's the thing, is like before the Virginia game, he even said this. Hey, paraphrasing a little bit here, but we have a reputation, right? And can't really get that monkey off of our back. But at the end of the day, I mean, like, this happens, man. This is college football, so it's hard to win. It's hard to win every game with, and this is the other piece. It's hard to win at Alabama and at Georgia and at LSU and at wherever, you name it, right? Michigan. Well, Michigan, I think you might have figured out the formula. Maybe we should try stealing signs. But, these guys have the best players, and it's hard to win. And I think we have, like you said, I still think Drake May is best quarterback, most NFL-ready guy. You're not going to change my mind about that. I think we've got maybe the best running back in the country. I think we may maybe have a top 10 receiver. I mean, we haven't had a chance, unfortunately, to see enough of Tez. And by the way, we neglected to, send our well wishes. I know he was hurt pretty bad, and I think based on everything, I haven't read deeply into it, but I think he's doing better, doing okay. Hope so. But like, we're not a powerhouse, man. You're not getting the top recruit in every state every season. Right. So it's even harder for us to, and you can say, okay, well, we don't plan that. Fine, whatever. But that sort of, we are expecting a level of consistency that I think is unrealistic. Right. I mean, it's hard to stay up for some of these games. I mean, it's a bummer because you see what this team is capable of. Right. You don't just lose these games and all of a sudden you're not a good team. Like, you are a good team. That's why it's so disappointing. But nonetheless, it's like you said, I mean, you got to right the ship at some point. And, get things back on track. And, fortunately for us, we got a good opportunity to do that before we turn around and play a good team again. Mm-hmm. And then turn around and play another good team, and then turn around and play a team that sure is playing a hell of a lot better. So, yeah, I think that's all you can do. And, we can look back and, wish we could change something about it, but we can't. So I'm with you 100%. Anybody that thinks Mac Brown can just forget about it. Like you got short-term memory. Fedora was good one year. Then everybody figured out that offense. And prior to that, we were great when we had Butch Davis, and there was all kinds of litany of issues going on there. Prior to that, we weren't shit since Mac was here the first time. So, look, man, as far as I'm concerned, Mac Brown's a coach till Mac Brown doesn't want to be a coach anymore. Anybody that thinks otherwise is just delirious in my mind. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as far as, people are talking about, the Gene Chizik or this, that, and I'm like, dude, fine. I got no idea. I don't have an informed opinion on what it takes to be successful and whether people are good, bad, or otherwise. All I know is we can score points with anybody, and we can't stop a tree stump. We couldn't stop a fence post, dude. We couldn't stop anything. Good grief, dude. You name it. We can't stop it.
The saying in basketball, you couldn't guard a wooden chair.
Yeah.
Or statue.
We definitely couldn't guard a wooden chair. Statue of Liberty would rush for 100 yards on our defense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was trying to think the other day, like, what are some things that don't move? What can I come into the podcast with and be like, we couldn't stop X? What are some things that just do not move? And we couldn't stop them. We couldn't stop in elementary school, like the physical school. We couldn't stop, we couldn't stop the grass from growing if we had a lawnmower. What do you think we couldn't stop? We couldn't stop nosebleed if our nose wasn't bleeding.
Oh man, let's see here. What couldn't we stop? Boy, sleep. I'm usually pretty good at these, coming up with them on the fly. I couldn't.
We're just as bad as Pi. We'll have an off night. Just somebody that just rattle us, dude. It's just bad. It's tough. Anyway, football. Carry on, right? Same thing. Mm-hmm. We got a few games left. Weather's wonderful. Just get out there and enjoy what we got left. UNC basketball, all right? St. Aug, 117-53. All right. So here's my 2 cents on this. I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right.
This is one of those games where, I think Carolina's kind of the exact opposite of what we just talked about, right? We've kind of been like, hey, dude, we are a powerhouse in basketball, and we haven't acted like it last year, right? Mm-hmm. And this is one of those games where, the fans, we're going to get too excited about something like this. But here's how I feel about games like this. And it's an exhibition. It's all these things. We did exactly what we're supposed to do. You score 117 points coming right out of the gate. They were firing on all cylinders. Shot well from three, had transition points, had second chance points, shot well from the free throw line. I think they had 6 or 7 guys in double figures. Your stat sheet's going to look great. You score 117 points in college, right? It'll look pretty normal in the NBA. But that's my thing, is what I take away from this is, if you're going to have this game, go out and do exactly this. Just do exactly what you're supposed to do. It doesn't tell me anything, it doesn't entice me anymore, but it checks a pretty good box for me that says, hey, all right, this is what you're supposed to do. Kind of if we had gone out and beaten, we're supposed to go out in this football game and beat Campbell 50-10 because we got an insane offense and had a decent defense, right? That is the equivalent here, is you go out and just throttle. You do not want to win this game by 16 points and you're up 6 at halftime. Then people start coming in already hot. Oh boy, here we go again. So that's what I took away from it, which is hey, we saw exactly what we wanted to see here.
Yeah, and so first of all, 117 points. You could combine four games last year and we probably didn't get 117. Yep. First of all, the pace of play is much faster, which I like to see. Kind of what Carolina fans are used to, seeing the the guys running, and also they had 25 fast break points. St. Augustine had 0. That's pretty damn good.
Hell yeah.
That's old school Carolina, and it's good to see their pace of play is up. But RJ Davis had 22 points. And listen, I know it's St. Augustine, but I've believed in RJ, and I think he can be a really good player. And if he gets his confidence up, and he gets, if we get consistent big nights from him, I think we're going to be in for a good year. And obviously, Armando, I don't think he needed to be Superman against St. Augustine, clearly. And I think what I want to see from the exhibition games, I want to see these young guys and how some of these transfers are going to be incorporated into this team. And we saw Cormac Ryan, who I think is going to be good, transfer from Notre Dame, outside shooter. He had 10 points. He got hurt. We are a little banged up. Cormac didn't play. What's his face? Trimble didn't play, Seth Trimble. And then Jalen Withers, I think, was out as well. So some of the guys are banged up, dealing with some injury issues. But it's good to see Cormac Ryan, who I believe could be a huge benefit to this team, and I like his attitude. I know he's in the gym a lot. He's an outside shooter. He's going to open up the floor for Armando. It's going to allow Armando to get much easier looks and to do his thing down low, which I'm all for. But also we saw a little bit of Elliot Cadeau make some big highlight plays. He was dealing with a little bit of foul trouble, but I think Elliot could be one of those big-time players. And I think Elliot Cadeau, when I think of him, he could be like a Cole Anthony, Kobe White type one and done. I think he has that type of talent, and to me, he's kind of that type of mold. And I think he's going to be really good for this team. And also Zayden High, the other freshman who came in, did his thing, first exhibition game. And, you could be dealing with some jitters. That's the first time you're playing in front of a crowd on the Smith Center. So nerves can play a little bit of factor, but it's good to see that those freshmen came in, and also some transfers did some things. Harrison Ingram, it looks like he's going to be very beneficial, smooth player. He's going to provide outside shooting, but also he's going to give us a chance to go small when we need to, match up, and also provide outside shooting. And it's going to open up the floor more and more. And also, these guys, last year we came on here and complained, and we felt like we took more contested threes than any team in the country. That's what it felt like. But it looks like we have shooters, and we're willing to share the ball and not have lackadaisical turnovers, like what we like. We love the word lackadaisical at SHWW. We'll use it at any chance we can get. So they took care of the ball, but let's keep this in perspective. It is St. Augustine, one game. Let's not do too much to it. But we do show some promise, and we do show a lot of things that we didn't do last year. We didn't run. We didn't have this type of chemistry. So this gives us a little bit of optimism and enthusiasm coming into the year.
Yeah, and like we talked about last year, there's a lot of questions about chemistry, and it sure seemed like it wasn't there, right? Like the narrative inside was that there were no issues, and fine. I personally have no idea. Just didn't look like it on the court. Now, chemistry as far as getting along and chemistry in terms of like playing in harmony, there's no arguing that chemistry was not there. And that's the one key takeaway I had in watching these guys is it was like, dude, these guys seem like they've been playing together since they were kids. I thought Ingram was great. I thought he was the guy that really was my call out as like, all right, man, this guy is the type of player that I feel like we haven't had in several seasons. If what we saw then is how we can expect him to perform consistently. Again, it's St. Aug. It's a lesser opponent. I mean, I get all that sort of stuff, but it just gives us a window into. I think you're right. Like we talked about this last pod, right? Less expectation. The focus is elsewhere, even within the conference. We're sort of like kind of, flying under the radar here. And let us get out. First game's Monday against Radford. Go out and do it again. You know what I mean? And get a couple wins under our belt, get some confidence. And then, of course, the next challenge is, all right, how are you going to handle being down on the road or whatever, and there's plenty of challenges ahead for this team and every other team. There's a ton of parity in college football, college basketball, college sports in general. So I'm just going to tell you right now, Carolina fans, if you think we're just going to waltz through the season because we beat St. Aug by 1,000, like, listen, man, shame on you. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I liked what I saw. It's going to be exciting, to sort of get back. It's hard to believe it's here, but first game's next Monday.
And Sleep, I want to say one other thing. Last year we talked about this at the Final Four: San Diego State, Florida Atlantic, Kansas, and UConn.
Hell, I don't even remember.
No, I'm not sure it was Kansas, but it's definitely those three for sure. Now, if you look at San Diego State, I mean, their average age of their team was like 22, and they had some COVID players playing their fifth-year seniors. And when I look at this team, we have some guys who transferred. Cormac Ryan, he's going to be fifth year. I think Harrison Ingram's he's a veteran player. Armando's a veteran player. So we're one of these teams that, we have some age. And I said this last year, I think there's a big difference between a college player, a fifth-year, strong college player versus a five-star freshman. And I get, I'm not saying that the anomalies like Zion and those guys, listen, that's a once-in-a-generation type player. Okay? I'm talking about the average five-star, okay, versus a guy who's been in college for 5 years, working out, has a different body. Those guys make a difference. And, I think that's the value of the transfer portal, as much as, we're not the biggest fans of it and how it's run, but that is the value of getting some older players, and being Carolina. You can go to a mid-major and get one of these, older players that has an extra year, fifth year senior, and who has a developed body, strong, very knowledgeable, and knows what to do and knows how to do it and plays his role. I think that's a huge benefit to a team. And I think Cormac Ryan especially fits that role. So, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's one sort of cardinal rule of college basketball, that really showed a lot 10 years ago, right? Valparaiso is the one school that always comes to mind as like the sort of perennial sweet Cinderella story, right? Sweet 16 type thing, is those teams in March with 3 juniors and 2 seniors. Those are the ones that always surprise everybody, right? Because those guys have been playing together. And your point now, especially with the COVID year, and I think is, a lot of guys in 5th and even sometimes 6 years, the maturation of your body from 17, 18 to 21, 22 years old, right? You see it a lot in the NBA. It's when guys start to, some of those younger guys start to put some weight on. They just go in the gym and, all of a sudden to gain 10 or 15 pounds, right? That stuff matters a lot. And especially, in a college game where, I just think the learning curve on the player's refinement in a 4-year span is, we're going to continue to see phenomenal freshmen come in. And I think now more than ever, you're going to see them at different places. And, with the way AAU games, these kids are playing all the time, and there's science behind it and all that sort of stuff. It's not just these kids aren't just, shooting on peach baskets and shit anymore. They're doing all this stuff, all this, plugging them into all these computers and shit and trying to, help them improve their game from so many different, tactical levels. So, but you can't replace experience and age, and especially when that is reflected sort of in your size. So, yeah, I think that there's a lot here in terms of, we've got some great young talent, and we've got, some veteran leadership that's also talented. So, hopefully we can, we can put all that stuff together and, just get out there and be consistent. And I think it's the same thing we just said about football. It's the same thing we're looking for in basketball as fans, is hey, help us stay even keel here. Give us some consistency throughout the season, and you go get some wins and some losses. There's a lot of. I just don't think it's so hard for me to see a lot of teams going on those 3 and 4 loss seasons anymore. I mean, it'll happen, of course, right? But your big blue bloods. I mean, Dude, there's going to be schools that have, because that's the thing about college, is if you have a guy and he's on, you can lose. And I think more teams have a guy now than have ever had before because of NILs and all that sort of stuff. And hell, man, the difference in guys staying from freshman to his sophomore year, or a difference in a guy getting some experience and transferring in, and maybe he was just a player and maybe he actually stood out, and next thing you know, his whole mentality changed because he's like, you know what, I'm gonna transfer to a bigger program and I got a shot here. You know, I might get in the G League and then I might get into the NBA. I just think seeing 3 and 4 loss teams is going to become, I'll say, less common. Not necessarily that you won't see it, but I won't be surprised to see a 6 or 8 win or 6 or 8 loss national champion.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is guys get older. There's more parity, and also you look at it last year. Alabama was one of those teams, and actually we took Alabama. 4 overtimes? 4
overtimes, yeah.
And you look at the teams right before the season or right before the tournament, Alabama was one of those teams where we're like, man, they might run it. And then all of a sudden, boom. That's what I'm talking about. They had some young guys, okay? They had a guy, Brandon Miller, okay? That's what I'm saying. They ran into some veteran teams. They knew how to play basketball, defense and discipline, okay? That wins, to me, veteranship, defense, discipline wins in the tournament. And, they ran up against that. And so did Duke, by the way. Tennessee manhandled them, which I loved every second of that one. Even though we weren't there, I really enjoyed watching that game. But
who wouldn't?
Yeah, but no, I mean, I'm with you, Sleep.
That's like the 72 Dolphins, right? Like they talk about the 72 Dolphins every time there's an undefeated team and they lose, they celebrate. It's like us last year. It's like, dude, we just want to make sure all the rest of our teams that we hate are just as miserable as we are. And then once they were, I was like, all right, the season was fine.
And that's the one thing about last year before the tournament. Duke started to get hot. And then here it comes out of the woodworks.
Damn. Yeah.
Everybody on TV, all the analysts, Duke's a team, Duke's a team. And it was just like, it was too much for me. Heck, I had them losing to, I'm not even sure who they played. They played a nobody first, and I researched them so much, and I had them losing.
The spike pick, yeah.
Yeah, like the first game, but no, that was, I really enjoyed that one.
They just got Cooper Flagg. I mean, that kid looks like he's going to be really, really good, but he's going to be really, really hated. I can't believe guy would make a decision like that. Anyway, so yeah, well, guys, just keep it realistic here. Let's just spend. Here's what we packed with SleepHawk Worldwide promise. Okay, just let's stay sane about all this for 1 month. Like, get us to December. We play the 6th. Next Monday is our first game basketball. Like, let's just not do this to ourselves. Let's not football ourselves. Right? Let's just take each game as it comes. Let's not look ahead. Let's just, be one with the television, okay? All right, that's my advice. NFL, jump into that real quick. Just breeze through it, dude. Brock Purdy looked awful. The Chiefs lost to Denver. Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles. Commanders had Philly beat, and then they lost. My question for you, what is, at this stage of the season, what team are you most surprised about, good or bad?
I'm not going to say Detroit. I'm going to say the Browns.
Yeah.
And, I've said this last pod. I think they have a great defense. And, I think Deshaun Watson, I think it's just a matter of time before he starts playing better. And I know he's been hurt a little bit. But I think the Browns are capable of having a little bit of a run.
I think it's the Jags. I thought you were going to say the Browns. And nobody wants to say Detroit, even though I think Detroit has got to be like one of the best.
I do not like Detroit at all.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, what are they, 6-2?
Well, you want to know why I don't like Detroit? It's because everybody likes Detroit, and their coach is too emotional. Yeah. I get it. He's a big, he's a tough dude.
He's a psychopath.
He looks like Hercules. But you don't have to get emotional every single interview. I was watching him on ESPN. He started crying, and I'm just like, man, this guy, come on, bro. Cool. And just like, and the TV just bought it, and everyone else is just jumping on. I can't stand it. I hope they get smacked sleep.
They might. Who they got tonight? The Raiders. Boy, this is going to be a snooze fest.
Ain't going to happen. Not tonight, fellas.
Purdy's starting to freak me out. I'm starting to wonder. I still don't think I watch him play, and it's not like I don't think he's bad. It's just crunch time. He's made a couple really bad mistakes. It's just not sure who he is. Really hate to see the Chiefs lose at Denver. I mean, God bless. Now all of a sudden Denver looks like they're putting their shit together. Although our boy Javonte Williams is turning the corner. I'd love to see him, keep going, have a good rest of the season. Kirk Cousins, it really sucks because he's a good quarterback and doesn't get any credit for how good he is. And he was up for a contract this year, so that's going to get a little dicey for him. Like I said, my biggest surprise got to be Jacksonville. Jacksonville's 6-2. And I don't even think they've played that great played well in a few games, but they got some weapons, and Trevor Lawrence is certainly looking like, he's a guy that can win you some football games. So I just think it's interesting, how far Jacksonville has come to put themselves in the conversation. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs unless they go, UNC on us. And I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see them, because they can probably get pretty deep given how how talented they are on offense. There's some good teams out there. I mean, my fantasy team is just a dumpster fire, dude. I mean, I got one team that just flat sucks, and then I got another one that's great. And I got so many good players that I have to decide which ones to play and which ones to bench. And every time I decide which ones to bench, the dude on the bench blows up, and the guy that I've got like hell, who do I have?
You got a great bench.
I got a great bench, man. Deep. Team's deep, I hate fantasy football, dude. I think I'm not going to play anymore. It's too much luck, man. I'm about skill games.
I've got Jacksonville's defense, which defense in fantasy is stupid. I'm in one league where they play defense. Got them. They've been doing work for me sleep.
Hey.
But both my fantasy teams are like good, just not good enough.
Yeah, mine definitely aren't good enough.
Like I've got a great bench. It seems like, when I want to rest a guy, he wants to have a career day, and it seems to be the theme of the year. So I'm GMing my team to the bottom.
Top 5 Halloween candy, Big Hawk. Today's Halloween, if you're listening to this thing.
Happy birthday, Bobby Frazier, by the way.
Oh, wow. Halloween. Big Bob.
Great Tar Heel. Man, getting old, though. Let me see here. Favorite Halloween. All right, candy. Let's go with the Tootsie Roll. And I'm talking about a different flavor, like the orange Tootsie Roll. You ever seen those?
Oh, yeah.
They come
like
in the wrapper.
Ones and stuff.
Those things are money. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Didn't see that one coming. I did have Tootsie Rolls on my list. It is Tootsie Roll, by the way. Most people say Tootsie Roll. It is Tootsie.
Oh, well, you learn something every day.
Watch out for the razor blades in those bad boys. When you were a kid, everybody make you think it was like illicit.
What kind of weirdo does that BS? Like I've never.
I mean, yeah, of course, but like I never found anything weird in my candy.
Yeah, neither have I.
I think my parents used to psych me out with that shit, so I wouldn't eat the whole bag. And I'd eat it anyway.
Yeah, I never get.
I used to get in trouble every single year. My parents, I'm about to be a dad by next Halloween, right? So probably 2 or 3 Halloweens before I got to start yanking that little shit in line. But like. I used to just rock them to sleep, man. Right when they weren't paying attention, I'd just start mowing down the bag of candy. And by the time they caught me, dude, it was too far gone. I knew I was going to barf in the middle of the night.
Oh, God. Yeah, my neighbor used to hook it up. They used to have like a huge basket of candy for us. Man, looking back, I had some great neighbors. Man, I got to say 3 Musketeers.
Okay.
And so that one's close to my heart. My grandma she used to just load us up with those things. Love them.
That's probably going to be a hot take pick there. People either love 3 Musketeers or they hate it.
Yeah, I like them. White chocolate Reese's Cup. Love them.
Yikes. Okay.
White chocolate Kit Kat.
Ugh.
So we're on 3.
So you're at orange Tootsie Rolls, white chocolate Reese's Cups, white chocolate Kit Kats, and 3 Musketeers. What's your 4th? Got a 5th. Please say candy corn.
My 5th?
5th, yeah.
Caramel apple. An apple covered in caramel.
You got neighbors to give you now. That's some shit. If I find a razor blade in, my parents were damn sure not. See, that homemade shit. My parents wouldn't let me eat it. I'd throw that shit right in the trash. All right, so Tootsie Rolls, I'm on there with it. I shouldn't even say, I always said Tootsie Rolls, and right before this, I decided I was going to start enunciating it correctly. But I'm going straight on like regular ones, because those are the ones where you're like, damn, man, I don't want to eat these, and they like all fall to the bottom of the bag, you know? And so when you get to the end, you've already picked through all the good shit, and you're like, fuck, I eat these Tootsie Rolls. But then you eat them, and you're like, they make your mouth water. You know, there's something in them that like make you salivate like a dog. And then you eat more and you're like, damn, these things are pretty damn good. So, and something about like, why do they have the lines in them? You know, like why do they have the little like divots in them?
I don't know, Sleep.
I don't either.
Maybe break them. I don't know.
Maybe there's something about them. Anyway, those are good. Snickers. I'm going to get to something about the candy bar situation here in a minute. Snickers, Baby Ruths, Paydays, and this is the one. For me, this is like a quintessential. Like I'm a big Snickers guy. Like I'll eat Snickers like it's my favorite candy bar. But something about Halloween, dude, the Butterfinger, dude.
I'm always on board with Butterfinger.
Butterfinger. And it gets stuck in your teeth, right? So you pry it out. And it's like, Butterfinger again, you know, gift that keeps on giving. But here's the thing, man, they call this shit fun size, and you got them one, you know, some neighbors give that little tiny square one. This shit ain't fun size. Like the king size is the fun size. Did you have any neighbor? We used to have a couple neighbors that would give us like full size candy bars.
King size?
Like not the big ass one. They would just give us a regular one. Like if we ever got a king size, we'd just go around the house like 7 times. We thought we were slick, and we'd go to the full candy bar house, and they'd be like, "Listen, dude, listen, He-Man, we saw you last time, Donatello. Them hot ass plastic masks, dude. Like, man, Halloween. The kids these days, you know, I see kids running around. They got all these like, you know, eccentric costumes, dude. We had the cheapest, shittiest. Like you put that plastic mask on, dude, it was like you army crawled through a rainforest. I mean, you take that thing off and it could be cold as dick outside. You take that mask off, dude, and you're sweating bullets under that thing.
Sleep. You want to hear one of the messed up stories and growing up? Like this is just unbelievable. You cannot even imagine it. I'm sorry.
All right, let's hear it.
I don't want to cut into your candy story, but we had this black cat growing up.
Old PJ.
Name was PJ.
You told us from last Halloween. Revisit this one. I remember this shit. Go for it.
And so I don't know what happened, but like my dad, my neighbor flagged my dad down. I was like, man, that's a great Halloween decoration y'all got. And my dad was like, what do you mean? That black cat y'all got hanging in the garage is making all that noise. And my dad was like, we didn't put up any decorations. It was PJ that got stuck in the garage with its tail and was hanging, screaming at the top of his lungs, trying to get down from the garage. The poor cat, man. It's an outdoor cat, guys. We'd never let PJ
tail
inside.
Got stuck in the hinges of the garage door.
Oh, good God. Can you imagine? Man. But
man,
we just fed that cat and it would just come back. And
dude, that's the other thing about the 80s, man. People had outdoor cats, so you just like left your cat outside.
Yeah.
Like I miss being an 80s neighborhood, because down my street, man, somebody's got 5 or 6 cats and they just chill, dude. They run around and like they see, and people haul ass down my street. So those cats are just about that street life, because I ain't seen one of them get clipped yet. But yeah, dude, Halloween was it when you were a kid, man. Like, you know, if it rained on Halloween, it was like, man, the worst. But as a parent, I could only imagine how much worse it must have been to carry your kids around in the damn rain. Mm-hmm. And now, like our neighborhood now, we don't have any Halloween candies, but I must put some on the porch anyway, because we drove down the street. So it's like, that's the other thing is now Halloween is on a Tuesday. So like they like this like modern America, they take the kids out on. Dude, I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, like you went trick-or-treating on Halloween. That shit's on a Tuesday, you go trick-or-treating on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Your ass ain't going to Saturday before.
Yep.
So like I forgot last Saturday I'm driving around, there's kids everywhere all dressed up, and I was like, well damn, they must be doing Halloween, man. This is bullshit, man. I mean, that was it, man. You dressed up, go to school, and you come home and just like go to town, and you're out there early, lights on or daylight still, and just, oh man, Halloween, dude.
I got 2 questions for you, Sleep, about Halloween. When is it too old to go trick-or-treating?
Ooh, great question.
Answer that, then I have one more.
So I think the rule used to be that like once you were a teenager, so like 13 would technically be too old, but I think you start pushing it around 11 or 12. I'd say maybe 12. Yeah, I mean 13 sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna 13. You cannot go.
All right.
12's your last year.
So I had an experience because I was so tall growing up. I remember when I went trick-or-treating and this lady, because I didn't look because I had this mask on. I guess I
drive here?
She was like, "You're a little big to be trick-or-treating, don't you think?" And I was like super young. And after that, I did not go trick-or-treating anymore.
Man, and that's some bullshit. Like if some 16-year-old kid came up to my porch, I'd be like, "Here, dude. I mean, you want it that bad, have it." Like that is some bullshit how some people want to police a child. I mean, because look, you're still 16. Right, and I'm a grown adult. If you want to be trick-or-treating, if that's how you want to spend your time, like as long as you ain't toilet paper in my house and shit, like here, sure, dude, here's the Snickers bar, full size maybe, because you're grown, you need it. Like
Here,
you're
I'm
grown.
gonna get you a little Debbie oatmeal cream pie. Here you go, buddy.
Yeah, let me go get you some pretzels out of the pantry here. You can have. I got a tomato and an avocado in here if you need it. But yeah, I think there's definitely a rule there, but there's definitely, there's always people that are like, "Aren't you a little big to be trick or treat?" Like, no, I'm trick or treat, dude. I said it.
There's one other time when Halloween
I'm here for your
is great.
advice. I'm here for some candy.
I know. Hey, man, I don't care how big I am. I'm like 11. Sleep. Halloween is great in college, and it's great when you're a kid.
God bless.
Do not underrate Halloween in college. And I would just want to say to all the college kids out there, I know you guys, every one of you guys are paying attention. Every kid in UNC, enjoy it because days are numbered after college.
grief.
Halloween just, kind of goes downhill the older you get. But Halloween in college is absolutely amazing. Franklin Street, I think actually UNC might be the best school for Halloween, and nobody parties as hard as UNC on Halloween. I will double down on that one. You think you go to Franklin Street, check it out. You will not, you've got to get early to get into a bar. Players used to just be off the charts on Halloween. La Residence is amazing on Halloween. And God bless you if you made it to Bob's. That was just not a good situation for there. But anyways, yeah, I loved Halloween in college, Sleep.
Halloween in college is great, but so is every other night in college. That's kind of what I think about Halloween in college. Like when you're a kid, this shit comes around about once a year. And when you're in college, it comes around once a week at minimum. But yeah, so I'm with you. I forgot about that. And then, the costumes and all that sort of stuff, even in college. And I've always been the one that I'm like, oh shit, it's Halloween morning. What the hell am I going to be? And I wind up with some, really bad costume. And now, like the situation now is I'll be asleep and there'll be people ringing the doorbell. And I'll be like, guys, lights off. Get out of here. But I can't leave the light off in my neighborhood either. Because if you leave the light off, right, that means you don't have any candy. Fine. You're just asking for it in my neighborhood. You leave that light off and you're going to get eggs on your house. Something like that, dude. You can keep your head on a swivel. I'm going to make sure the damn doorbell has a clear line of sight. Might even plant a deer cam out there on my tree just to keep an eye on things out there because now I'll be 40 this year. So now I'm just put signs out there like, you want candy, come up the driveway. Stay off the grass. All right, kid? Especially if you're too big to be trick-or-treating. All right, Big Hawk. Well, that's about all I can muster out of this one. We got the NBA in-season tournament coming on. We're going to drop a video for you to check that out and how that all works. That will be starting on the 3rd of November. So by the time we record again, it'll already be underway. There's some cool stuff going on. Painting every court in the NBA. I don't know if you saw that. I just saw that. Every single court in the NBA is going to be painted, like custom painted for this tournament. They're, all in on this NBA Cup. we're going to drop a video here to explain to you how it all works. So check that out. NBA's just getting in full swing. They had a sports equinox last week, I think they call it, which is where every single sport is active, is physically playing a game on the same night with the World Series going on.
Oh, wow.
So World Series is tonight. Watch.
Yeah.
Zero of that shit.
Pumped about that.
Yeah. Supposed to be good. All right. Tell me when it's over. All right, Big Hog. You got anything else?
Stay safe.
Stay safe.